Today is August 26th. Welcome on into Daily Cards Live here on ClavesOnline.com. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Bob Ramsey and Rammer. The Cardinals are now back to 500, and we can start talking about their playoff push.
Okay. Let's start talking.
They need to do more. They need to get 5 games over 500 now.
That would be nice.
Yeah, and then we keep going and going from there.
No, it was last 2 series. They've done more good than bad. Yesterday's victory was a gift from the Twins. So what? Somebody wants to give you something, you give you a gift, you accept it, and took advantage of that gift. That's the other good thing about it. So is this team going to be able to get to the point where you can just go out and night after night, we're beating you?
Yeah.
Instead of let's hang on and find a way and figure something out. And, there's still too many strikeouts, not enough walks. When that variable changes, I know on TV, they've been beating to death the runners in scoring position. Advanced metrics people will tell you, you just hit when you hit. That guys aren't able to be so-called clutch hitters. I don't completely agree with that.
I was just about to follow up and ask if you believe in that, because I 100% believe that there is a clutch hitting aspect, that there are players that perform better under pressure than others. And
Yes.
You can give me all the metrics you want. It's plain and simple. When it comes down to it, some guys get the hit when the pressure's on, others choke, just like in every other sport. Sometimes the basketball player makes the shot when he's a clutch player, he misses when he's not a clutch player. There is a clutch gene. Yes.
What I will say, I think the guys you're talking about, and I agree with you, I think that's a small percentage of players. I think for the large percentage of big league players, they just are who they are. I'm a 220 hitter with occasional power. Sometimes you'll get that occasional power with people on base, sometimes not. And so I think there's some truth to that. So I think you can we don't have to be an extreme situation on that. My point about all that is strikeouts and walks. If you can cut your game-by-game strikeouts to single digits and get at least half as many walks, that's a decent formula to create the opportunities you need to score 4 or more runs.
Rammer, do you know how many walks the Cardinals drew yesterday in the game?
I believe it was 0.
0.
Yeah. Well, that's why that game was such a gift.
Yeah. They struck out 13 times.
Yeah, it was awful. They were very fortunate to win that game. Thank goodness the pitching was good enough.
Yeah. Eric Fetty goes 6 innings in the game yesterday, only allowing 2 hits, but he walked 3 in the game. And outside of Sean Armstrong, who came in, kind of roles were a little reversed yesterday in the game, and you wonder what Ollie's thinking as far as bullpen management is going to go down this stretch run. You saw Andrew Kittredge come in the 7th inning when he's usually more of your 8th inning guy, and has been your 8th inning guy for a lot this year. They give JoJo the ball in the 8th, and he's only able to get you 1 out before you have to go to Sean Armstrong. I wonder if there is a little readjusting in that bullpen happening down the final month of the year.
I think most of it comes down to availability on a given day and then a matchup in a situation. You're not going to use Kittredge if you're way behind. You're not going to use him to close the game unless it's a very unusual circumstance. So we're talking somewhere generally between the 6th and the 8th. And that's when I think it goes to matchups.
Yeah. So Cardinals, you would imagine, based on pitch count from yesterday, everybody should be somewhat available for tonight. Kittredge only threw 8 pitches, Romero 13, Armstrong 5. Helsley gets the save with only 12 pitches yesterday. So everybody should be back and ready to go for the opener tonight against the San Diego Padres. You have the coffee man, Kyle Gibson, on the mound tonight. If you didn't hear the story yesterday, there was a plumbing issue in the Cardinals hotel where Claves had mentioned. Claves wasn't on the trip, but he said that the media and some of the other folks were in a different hotel because it was Father's Weekend. The Cardinals had to get even more people
Yeah.
rooms than usual, so they kind of displaced a few other people. So the broadcasters were not in that hotel, and he would not have been part of that. But there was a lot of room changing and midnight or middle of the night wake up calls for the Cardinals to then also go out and win the game in the manner that they did too. Makes it impressive with that aspect of it. But Kyle
Stories.
Gibson,
You got to have stories to tell.
yeah, Kyle Gibson. I think they said was balancing 12 cups of coffee, bringing it to the team yesterday for that, and now tonight he's on the mound.
Yeah, so I'm sure it was a nice short flight back home last night. Everybody should be very well rested, and they'll need it. It's going to be blisteringly hot, and so that could be a factor tonight to keep an eye on starting pitchers from both teams. Padres are an interesting bunch. I love following them, and they got Bogarts back recently. That's helped their lineup. Arias has not quite been as dominant as he was the last two seasons, but he's still a terrific leadoff guy. And the one thing they're missing to really make a run at the Dodgers is Tatis. I think with all the good players they've had, and even with the emergence of a young guy like Merrill, who's been very good, I think that you look at the Padres and you go, that one spark they need, they're still waiting on.
By the way, you mentioned Jackson Merrill. Is he your NL Rookie of the Year?
I shouldn't have brought him up because I didn't do any of that research. I don't know.
I think when you look at it, I think he hit the game-winning home run yesterday in the game. I believe that was his 6th game-winning hit of the season for the Padres, and you can put his numbers right up there with all of the other top rookies on the National League side. I think just that clutch aspect of it that Jackson Merrill has shown so far in his rookie year, and the fact that his team's right in the middle of a playoff race, I think puts him up there.
Yeah, he's giving you one of those rookie performances you hope you were going to get with the Walker or Scott or whomever. And, it's only, and no offense to anybody, it's really only been Wynn that the Cardinals have been able to count on of the extremely young guys, the 23-year-old or younger guys. So, but Merrill has really stepped up, and he is, you're right, one of those guys that has been special and a spark for the Padres. They're fun to watch.
Yeah, the Cardinals tonight, no lineups as of yet for the game, but they will throw, as I mentioned, Kyle Gibson on the mound against Randy Vasquez for the Padres. Looking ahead at some of the other matchups this series to see who the Padres are going to be throwing. Dylan Cease tomorrow night for Tuesday's game. On Wednesday night, it will be Joe Musgrove, who made an outstanding defensive play this over the weekend. Yeah. And then Thursday afternoon, Michael King for them. So no Yu Darvish this weekend. He was reinstated from the restricted list, but is now on the 15-day injured list. So they need to get guys like Yu Darvish, and now they have Joe Musgrove back. That's going to be another key to being able to maybe catch the Dodgers or just compete with them in a 7-game series.
We may have buried the lead a little bit here in this with Wilson Contreras out again with another broken bone. Just one of those jinxed seasons for him. And this one could really hurt the club. He had sort of cooled off a little bit, but he was your number 3 hitter, and he was, I think, the right choice for that. So the number 3 spot is arguably your best hitter. Again, I said arguably in a given lineup. And to lose that guy while you're trying to make a run, very difficult. And we'll see how Pages and Herrera respond. Or maybe it's just Pages and Herrera doesn't get a shot, but it gives Baker a shot in the DH slot. So we'll see how they play it out.
Rammer, the game, I don't believe. Let me check here and see if it has just yet, because no, it did start. So the the game, as I'm looking here, is the Boston and Blue Jays game that that was just starting. It has started. It is underway. And for the first time ever, history was made earlier today, Rammer, as Danny Jansen. He was at the plate for the Blue Jays when the game was suspended back on June 26th. He is for the Blue Jays, batting for the Blue Jays. He will start the game, or did start the game, catching for the Red Sox. First time ever that a player has played for two different teams in the same game.
Yeah.
And catching while his own pinch hitter is up to bat.
You know what I'd want to go? You probably might have the timeline in front of you. Had the game continued to be played, would that have happened? Probably not. They were able to get the paperwork in, and so he could go today. There is, I believe, some instances in history where guys in a doubleheader have gone to the other clubhouse and played the next game, and then so on the same day, but usually it's the next day if they're in that town.
Yeah. I think that's happened before. I think that has happened before, Cardinals and Cubs, right? If I remember correctly.
Or somebody played the next day, or a doubleheader?
No, doubleheader. Just kind of switched dugouts in between that. I could have swore that would have happened, but something, again, Rammer, our research team failed to deliver us with that kind of information before the show started today. So we will be back tomorrow, recap Monday night's game between the Cardinals and the Padres. 4-game series upon us as the Cardinals' vicious schedule continues here in the last run. If they are going to make a playoff run, it's going to be really impressive for them to do so against some of the opponents that they have coming up on the schedule, and some of the opponents they've played over the last 2 weeks in the schedule as well. But until then, Rammer, we are brought to you each and every day by Munganast St. Louis Acura, and also your friends over at Royal Banks.
Royal Banks of Missouri, what are you looking for? I refied my home recently over at Royal Banks. They couldn't have made the process any better. They couldn't have made it any more easy to follow. It wasn't tedious. It was convenient. It was fantastic. And I'm getting ready to switch some car loans over to Royal Banks, because I know, like you should, that at Royal Banks, better service means better banking. And it's working for me. It'll work for you. 314-212-1500.
He's Bob Ramsey. I'm Joe Roderick. Talk to you next time right here on Daily Cards Live.
Munganast St. Louis Acura is making room for the 2025 MDX, so that means great deals for you on the 2024 MDX. We have over 100 2024 MDX models in stock, and you get financing as low as 3.9% for up to 60 months. Or you can lease a new MDX for just $559 per month for 36 months. Or get the MDX technology model for just $589 per month for 36 months. Munganast St. Louis Acura, better than ever for you.